It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Time for this week's edition of A Cup of Coffee with Will and Chris from Slumberland at the Lake. And Chris, we say it all the time, more regularly than ever before, but man, a lot of crazy local headlines this week.
Again, yeah, and some heavy-hitting, heavy-duty stuff too this week.
Yeah, so this week we've got a response from Reese Development on what their plans are, the Bagnell Dam Strip, an overwhelming response from the locals as far as what they want to see. We'll share some of those results. Also, the Sunrise Beach sewer problem, illegal dumping into the lake from a couple of years ago. You remember that awful, disgusting, really, story? Well, settlements have been handed out officially to the landowners who were directly impacted by that. We'll tell you about that, plus murder suspect in custody. Broke headlines last week that there was a manhunt underway in the lake area. We'll tell you about that, plus Election Tuesday coming up. We talked with Roland Todd. There is some big things on the ballot this upcoming Tuesday. We'll get you ready for that. Plus, man, have you noticed all the local high school coaches? It's like a coaching carousel going on.
Wow, especially up in Versailles. Man, they're really hurting for coaches.
Yeah, Versailles, Eldon, some changes. Osage, new basketball coaches on the boys and girls side. We'll tell you about that. Plus, Easter Sunday, right around the corner, as I like to refer to it as Resurrection Sunday. We'll talk a little bit about the significance of Easter Sunday for those who call themselves Christians. It really is what I would say the Super Bowl of all religious holidays, for it is the day that Christ resurrected from the grave. Very significant. We'll talk about all the things going on Lake TV and a whole lot more after this message from Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Just got a brand new shipment of outdoor furniture in. You need to come check it out. Pub height tables, counter height tables, sectionals, Adirondack chairs, rocking Adirondack chairs, about anything you can think of. Stock up on your outdoor furniture now. It also qualifies for 0% interest. And don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
Listen, the one downfall of all these incredibly great sales right here at Slumberland at the Lake is how often we lose our set.
I know.
New table again this week, and look, there's a sold sign on our incredible fire piece back here, so that's getting ready to head out. Just a reminder, guys, when you watch Cup of Coffee each week right here at Slumberland at the Lake, as much as it pains me to tell you, all of the furniture you see on the set is up for grabs. It is for sale, so stop in here at Slumberland at the Lake, and right now, there's spring savings. There's some great sales, up to 50% off retail. Store-wide, stuff for every room in the house. And when you stop by to see Daryl and the crew, don't forget to tell them that Wild Will and Uncle Chris sent you.
That's right.
So as we head into local headlines, the first one, we're going to lead with a big headline after Reese Development announced last week that they had to go ahead to demolish some of the dilapidated properties and buildings that they own, and they're going to get some assistance with that. And so, of course, speculation started to grow. You saw a lot of negative about, I want to see this. And so we officially put out just a feeler as far as, hey, so with all the changes coming to the Bagnell Dam Strip, what do you guys want to see? And I was confident it would get an overwhelming response, and it did. I mean, a lot of people chimed in. Of course, you saw family-friendly people often referred to batting cages and two-bit town and the maze and the bumper boats and the 10-cent skee ball and the things that we all kind of grew up enjoying and have great memories of coming to Lake of the Ozarks. And so we're not really hearing a lot from Reese Development on what their plans are. And of course, the negatives out there, you saw a lot of people have negative things to say. And I reached out to Nick Reese with Reese Development, and he did get back to us. And he said, hey, we can't share the exacts, but we are eager to talk with you guys. They actually said they watch Cup of Coffee each week regularly, and they want to keep us and the viewers informed. And so I'm hoping to talk with Reese Development. And in the meantime, Reese Development posted an update right to their Facebook page here, sharing, hey, thanks for the support, all the feedback. We're excited to share what our plans are, and we're not exactly giving away what they're doing there. So I'll be talking with Reese Development, I anticipate, before next week's show. But you have to think about everybody, the overwhelming negative that I saw was we need less bars, right? We need family friendly. And I've kind of thought about it. It's so easy to sit behind a keyboard, and it does sound great, right? To be family friendly. But I overall am just encouraged and optimistic that one of the biggest complaints we get is when you drive down the historic Bagnell Dam Strip, outside of some of the newer things and the Breaks and the Pages and the Tuckers and some of what they've done down there, is it's run down and it's not as family friendly. It's not visually appealing. And so it is appealing to me and exciting, regardless of what it is, whether bars, parking garage, if you will, that is going to take place. It would make it look better down there. And so I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that it'd be a great thing. But for all of those that are out there saying what the Reeses should do with this space, it's super easy to say what you would do if you're not forking up the money, correct? And business is business, Chris. You and I both know that as much as we'd love to see a top call for something family friendly, batting cages, a businessman wants to make money, right? And so it may be more the culture and society that we live in that's to blame than the businessman himself who's here to make money, because a lot of bars make money and they'll continue to make money, especially at Lake of the Ozarks. And so, like I said, as much as we want to see all of these other things, if you're not the one that owns the land, you're not going to make the same kind of money putting in miniature golf or things of that. And so is that the developer's fault or the landowner's fault, or is that really just a product of the society we live in? Is this maybe a bigger, overwhelming problem that things like bars and adult stores and tattoo shops would maybe be more attractive for a businessman who's looking to turn profits than, say, a maze and bumper boats and things that are highly expensive to upkeep, maintain, and make profit? And so I'm not against the Bagnell Dam Strip being more of an adult theme, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you have to take your kids down there. There's other areas around the lake, and so it'll be interesting to see. I think that the Reese family, they said they want to stay true to the historic landmark and nostalgia feel that the historic Bagnell Dam Strip comes with. So in that alone, I'm confident that it does have some type of family feel. And it'll be interesting, Chris, because the traffic through the Bagnell Dam Strip, it's great. There's a lot of people, a lot of transient business and visitors that go down there. And so as far as you, I mean, for you and Mrs. Uncle C, ideally, what would be great to come down to the Bagnell Dam Strip?
I think somebody needs to get creative. You know, some of these developers really need to get creative. I like what Tegetoff is doing, you know, with the Oasis development, putting in a theme park there. Sounds like that's going to be family friendly, but it's something that adults will like too. We need something like that on the Strip, not necessarily a theme park, but something that covers both bases, something that both adults and kids would like to do. You know, someplace where you can take family but still make money. What kind of a place is that? I don't think it's batting cages. I don't think that's going to make that kind of money. I don't think it's going to be bumper cars either. So what is it? You know, I mean, these people need to figure out what's working maybe somewhere else. What's working in a place like Branson or Nashville or, you know, all those other places where families like to go, because there's got to be an answer to that, that it covers both bases. And we do have, we've got some great bars and restaurants down there, but we probably have enough, you know, so what else can we add to the mix that covers the base for everything and still allows these businesses to make money, right? And not just be a batting cage that sits empty for 11 months out of the year. You know?
Yeah, I mean, batting cages, a skee ball, arcade games, those are incredibly expensive. And even if you charge 50 cents a spin, it's going to take a lot of time to make money.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see. And it's almost like the people that were the most vocal about what the Reeses should do with the property is they want charity. It's like, hey, I don't care if you really make money, but what you should do is you should put this splash pad and you should put this free parking and this. And it's like, it's a lot to ask. I mean, the Reese family is doing a lot for the local community right now, from their donation to Lake Ozark PD through Springfield Armory. You saw that a few weeks ago. And so I'm just encouraged that they're doing something. They're willing to talk with us. And hopefully we'll get to find out more here in the coming weeks as you tune into Cup of Coffee. And also it looks like Reese Development is posting to Facebook and growing that platform on their own. So I'd encourage you to go like and follow that page to get up-to-the-minute updates from them.
I'm really excited, though, with the news that they are going in and demolishing old, dilapidated, you know, buildings and properties, which they own already. It's not like they're asking, you know, for free money. Let's take away somebody else's land and clear it and stuff. They own it. They have the right to go in and clean it up, because like when I go down to the Strip, one of the first things I notice is, man, they could do so much more with this, right? There's so many old buildings and old lots that they're not doing anything with that are just blighting the community there. And it sounds like Reese Development is going to start changing that. So that I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we'll look forward to keeping you posted. All right, in other local news, Sunrise Beach, you heard about the sewer problem, the illegal dumping directly down the hill, right into the Lake of the Ozarks with, yes, sewage. That was from 2019, the violations.
Not long ago.
From Lake Expo, they report it's 5 years after the sewage treatment plant was found dumping waste into the lake. The homeowners who were impacted by the situation, they've prevailed in court as of February 1st of this year. The jury issued 8 verdicts in the civil lawsuit, resulting in a total award of over $2.1 million, Chris. You see, the amounts vary from $143,000 and some change all the way up to $408,000 for the largest settlement that went out to a couple. It's a lot of money, and it's hard to say whether or not that makes up for, but the city of Sunrise Beach, that's a huge expense for them for their insurance, and I can tell you that means premiums go up, potential of being uninsurable. And in November of 23, it's worth noting Sunrise Beach received nearly $4 million from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources to expand its wastewater collection system, with the project's estimated completion by May of this year. So we'll follow up with Sunrise Beach and find out if they've made any progress and if that date is expected to come to fruition, and exactly how they're handling this. I did get to talk to city trustee with the Village of Sunrise Beach, Steve Barthel, Saturday at the Lake West Expo, and he did mention there is litigation ongoing back and forth with this, and so we'll hope to find out more with this, but it just seems like pretty ignorant act. The individual listed is the former Public Works Director, Brian Scheider, who was exposed for pumping the raw sewage on a hillside that flowed into the lake. But you didn't realize how major this was and how many people this impacted, because these 8 couples or individuals who were in close proximity, they get the settlement. How about everyone who has swam in the lake since that point in time?
You know, I mean, this is disgusting, and it's good that they caught him doing it, I guess, and this former Public Works Director Brian Scheider. But this cost, you know, Sunrise Beach $2,125,000. Do they pay for it? Do the citizens of Sunrise Beach pay for it?
The village's insurance.
So the insurance. But I mean, does that mean people who live there, all of a sudden things are going up there? They have to pay for the stupidity of, you know, what the village was doing there. And then you mentioned it just last November, Sunrise Beach got another $4 million from the state to expand the wastewater collection system. Hopefully that will help fix that problem. Sunrise Beach has a problem there. You drive up Highway 5 in the area of Captain Ron's, you smell it.
Oh yeah, that sewage plant right there. I hate to say it, but yeah, you drive through there and you know where you're at.
You
on
do.
The west side.
Just about every time.
Of the lake. It's so interesting. Now, it is worth noting that back in 2019, the leadership, the Village of Sunrise Beach Board of Trustees and the chairperson, all completely different. It's a new regime leading the Sunrise Beach, from new chairperson, new board, new office staff there at the Sunrise Beach City Hall, all new over the last year plus. And so the new regime hopefully cleaning some of this up and hopefully taking the Village of Sunrise Beach in the right direction.
Literally hoping they're cleaning that up. Yeah, that's nasty.
I didn't even. I won't even do it. All right, so as we move ahead, our third local story, one that hit the headlines all over, not just the lake headlines, but the state headlines last week, was the manhunt. Well, he has been apprehended. Kendrick Cook, the man who was questioned or was wanted for questioning in relation to the death of one person in Lake Ozark last week, has been arrested. Cook, age 33, was taken into custody and booked to the Miller County Jail, 11:55 Friday night. Now, at the time of this release, the sheriff's office had not released any information about the circumstances of his arrest, but drug found at the crime scene, and apparently the victim as well as the suspect, Kendrick Cook, lived in the residence together.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about that story was Cook was at the apartment which he rented with the person who died when a witness arrived to drop off his children. So I don't know if the children are from both of, that couple, or where that comes from. The witness later reportedly told authorities that Cook was acting strangely and appeared to be under the influence of a substance. Sounds like that might have been after the death occurred, and maybe that's why he was acting a little strange. There's a lot of open questions with this story here. And it also went on to say that text messages they reviewed later revealed that Cook and the deceased person had reportedly been planning to party one last time before they separated because the defendant found out that the victim had been unfaithful in their relationship. That would be a probable cause, right?
Sure. And I also, you just wonder, if drug-related, there was substance found, charges were already listed when he was apprehended. You just wonder, I didn't see anywhere in the release where there was a gunshot wound or any severe injury or trauma to the head, and so one would start to wonder, potentially, if there's drugs related, does fentanyl play in, and could you just start to, you hate to assume or even think about what could have happened, Chris, but what if the overdose took place and in reaction you kind of overreact, not really sure how to handle that. But the sad thing is, someone has lost their life, and luckily for our local authorities and people here at the Lake area, Kendrick Cook is in custody. It'll be interesting to see. Now, they have not released the identity of the person who passed away, but our thoughts, our prayers go out to the friends, the family of the deceased. Just a terrible way to find out your loved one is gone.
And you know, it breaks my heart for those kids involved there, right? Whether it was the kids of the person who died or the guy who was arrested, it's a no-win situation in either case there.
Anytime kids are involved, and the ignorance and poor choices and decisions of adults always impacts and affects the kids that really are helpless in that situation. Sad deal. So as we move ahead, important stuff coming up this week. Tuesday, get out and vote. It is election in your local county, and one thing that we did, we had Roland Todd, the Camden County Clerk, on last week on the show, and he talked about how you could find your precinct, make sure you're registered to vote, all the things you need to know, and talked about the importance of the April election. And since we had him on, we also got a letter to the editor from Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison, and apparently Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison is endorsing personally and officially, politically, a couple of propositions that are on the ballot.
Yeah, absolutely. So he puts out this public letter as the mayor of Osage Beach, the owner of a local business, Harmy's Cheese Store, of course. I urge all citizens of Osage Beach to vote yes on both propositions U and A on April 2nd. The election's coming up this week. So a yes vote for Proposition U would allow the city of Osage Beach to collect a 2% use tax on out-of-state or online vendors. Interesting. He says this would level the playing field with our local businesses by the 2% sales tax that is already imposed. By allowing out-of-state or online vendors to continue to operate without this tax, it negatively impacts the local businesses. Okay, interesting. And then he says a yes vote for Proposition A would allow the Board of Aldermen of the city of Osage Beach to appoint a city collector as provided by the statutes of the state of Missouri. Back in 1959, when the Osage Beach city was first incorporated, city collector was an elected position carrying out many roles such as collection and processing incoming payments and timely deposits and whatnot. And he goes on to say a vote yes on this would allow for the appointment of this position and save the city of Osage Beach the monies currently paid out for duties that are being conducted by the staff. I'm not sure how that's going to save the city money because they're still going to have to pay the collector, you would think, right? So I didn't quite understand that, but I do understand the Proposition U and wanting maybe to tax outside vendors. And then I don't know if this, is adding a city collector a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I'm just disgruntled about, I'll say first, the Proposition A, yes vote. It includes in there the 2% use tax on out-of-state or online vendors. I'm still sour over that because Governor Parsons passed last year the online Missouri sales tax, that online you didn't have to, meaning everything that you buy through Amazon or eBay, not that I ever shop on eBay, but you then tacked on that additional online 8% sales tax that you didn't used to eat. And it's like, man, that adds up quickly. I understand why. I didn't love it. I understand why it's important for the city of Osage Beach to get that. But what you said at the very end, I was a little thrown off and confused by that as well. But with Election Tuesday coming up, more than anything, get out and vote. That's how you have your voice heard. And in regards to these two, I mean, we're curious what you guys think. Are you going to vote yes? You going to vote no? What do you think of Proposition A and Proposition U for the city of Osage Beach? Let us know in the comments or, of course, on our Facebook page. Now, as we move on, Chris, I know you're going to be out and voting on Tuesday, and you already know your voting precinct.
Yep, I know exactly where to go.
Got your voter registration card.
Yep.
Very good. You've looked at a sample ballot.
Yeah, you actually printed it out for me. Thank you. I
So
appreciate
you're
that.
prepped and you're ready for Tuesday to hit the polls and vote. We hope you are too. Now, in other local news, we talked about it. We've talked about it. We always text about it throughout the week when local coaching vacancies, a guy gets hired, gal gets hired at another school. We love the high school sports realm, and it's one of our favorite things we chat about throughout the year. Man, I'm going to run through it real quick because we got a lot. First, Hall of Famer Craig Engelbrecht, the head basketball coach at Osage, officially hangs it up.
That breaks my heart. I love Coach E.
Yeah. One of the greatest 40-year career spanning from Russellville, Eugene, Osage, over 600 wins, 8 district championships, was the state runner-up in 1992, and was an inductee into the 2017 Missouri Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame class. Congratulations to a great coach and a better man, Craig Engelbrecht, on a Hall of Fame career. Thanks for all your kindness you've given to Lake TV. We've absolutely loved working with him the last 3 or 4 years.
Every minute, yep.
And he is going to be replaced by a younger, his assistant the last 4 years, Jeff Henshaw. Believe it or not, Jeff Henshaw, a Rolla graduate. Like I said, he's been an assistant with Coach Engelbrecht the last 4 years. About some Osage ties for you. He's the brother-in-law of former Osage head coach Devin Johnson.
Okay.
Meaning he's the brother of Stacy Johnson, former principal at Osage. And so a lot of family ties there. And here's what's cool. Not only did he get some coaching experience working with Osage, but the rest of his coaching experience is in the college ranks from Tennessee Southern State, Talladega, University of Missouri S&T, William Woods. I mean, so that's pretty cool. Good replacement. You got big shoes to fill, but I got to tell you, Jeff Henshaw's a really, really good guy, a really great basketball mind, and someone the kids absolutely love, absolutely relate to. So we wish him luck and are looking forward to getting to work with him. And on the girls' side, you know, coming from Boonville as a state championship, Jarrett Hunziker, well, he is taking the job at Harrisburg for the girls' basketball team, and he leaves Osage as well.
That breaks my heart, too. He was doing such a great job. I mean, he was only at Osage for 2 years and really had that program on the rise. They lost in the playoffs to Owensville this year. They went to the Final Four. So I'm really going to miss him. Do we know who's taking over for him?
We don't yet. There's no one announced as of Monday night, the 25th. I anticipate the Osage District or School of the Osage District will announce that, or they're probably searching as we speak.
Maybe we're running these coaches off. Maybe it's us at Lake TV. There's so much pressure to be on the coaches show and the pregame and the postgame.
If Shannon Jolly can get acclimated and comfortable over the last 10 years where he loves doing Lake TV segments and interviews, can't be that much pressure, okay? All right, and we'll go to Versailles. A lot of changes going on at Versailles. We knew that Warren Seitz had retired or stepped down officially, the great Warren Seitz.
Football coach.
Coached the Tigers the last 3 years and had that program turning in the right direction. Well, he is out, and former Eldon head coach Chad Holt is in with Versailles. Talk about a surprise there.
Holt moves over from Eldon to Versailles, and I think he had been moved out of the position in Eldon. Eldon hired a new football coach, so good for Coach Holt. He's a great guy. Moves over to Versailles. Hopefully that'll work out for him.
One thing I also see in the comments and threads is parents absolutely adore Chad Holt and what he has meant to their kids. I looked at the comments when the announcement was made from Coach Holt's wife on her Facebook page. I cannot believe the amount of parents from Eldon who talked about how important his role and his mentorship and his father-like influence had on these kids in Eldon. And so that's what Versailles is getting. I think that's encouraging for them. And congratulations to the Eldon Mustangs on the hiring of Nick Griffin. He spent the last 2 years as Skyline's head football coach. He's coached a lot of winning programs as an assistant. Chris Republic, Branson, Monette, and Kickapoo, and played college ball at William Jewell as a all-conference linebacker. So Eldon, they're going to be in good hands as well.
Wow, that's good. Some interesting changes going on here.
And we told you about Versailles. They posted on their district Facebook page all the different openings. You saw men's and women's basketball, some track and field, a lot of middle school positions, the cheer coach. But as reported by LOZ Sports Network, Temporary Gunter has been the Versailles Tigers women's coach basketball since the 2020-21 season. She's no longer the head coach. And then Josh Walters, who has spent the last 2 years fresh off a district championship, overall mark of 44-11, he will no longer be returning to the Versailles sidelines. With those two in particular, of course, with Warren Seitz stepping down, I reached out to Aaron Allen, the athletic director with Versailles, and said, hey, everything okay? And he was very responsive, said, yes, we're in a great place. He goes, a lot of coaches making changes. They coach multiple sports. He goes, so when you lose a guy that coaches baseball, assistant JV, middle school, that's 3 openings when he leaves. And so from family, marriages, pregnancies, other opportunities, he goes, it's a really good time to be a Versailles Tiger. He was great in getting back with us, and they got some great coaches that are coming in. And Aaron was very adamant to say, man, we have had great coaches recently. This is no reflection of them. It's no one got forced out. No one was forced to resign or got asked to step down as their head coaching position, which I wanted to reach out and find out because a lot of people were wondering. And so some of those new openings, I start looking at who's going to take over for the Versailles basketball team.
Right.
To me, you had Coach Ollison, who had unprecedented success over his 5 or 6 years. Josh Walters steps in 2 years. He had a good run. And so whoever steps in, you lost a lot. But what a tradition at Versailles and what an upward trajectory that program's on.
Yeah, and I just want to say we love Aaron Allen, the activities director there at Versailles. Just a great guy, wonderful guy, always so helpful to us when we're covering something in Versailles. So love that guy, and I hope they can find some good coaches up there.
And he's got a heart to serve others. I don't know if I've shared on coffee before, built my altar for my wedding last minute.
How about that?
Tell you another time, because Aaron Allen is a salt of the earth. He's a great guy, and every decision he makes, everything is so intentional, does it diligently, and does it with the best interest of his kids in the district at mind. So good for Versailles. I think that's good, and I'm looking forward to working with Coach Chad Holt, wearing black and gold now. Will be interesting. Of course, that's my hometown. So welcome to the Tigers, Coach Chad Holt. All right, real quick, don't have a lot of time to spend on it, but news broke that Billy Dyer passed away, and so a lot of people that are newer to the area or haven't been at the lake since the 70s ask, who was Billy Dyer?
I didn't know who it was until you sent me the story.
So according to KRCG, Saturday, March 16th, 61-year-old Billy Dyer passed away at the Jefferson City Correctional Center. He was serving life sentence for 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 in Johnson and Camden County. He officially was deceased at 2:27 on March 16th. There will be an autopsy performed. Now, Billy Dyer came to the Missouri Department of Corrections in 1978 at the age of just 15 years old.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, if he passed away at 61 in 2024, why at 15 years old would you be sentenced to first-degree murder?
The story is gruesome.
Than once. And so a quick synopsis of in 1977, 14-year-old Billy Dyer took a .22 caliber pistol from his 12-year-old buddy Greg Swift that Greg had got from his dad. Billy, with the trust from his friend Greg, took the gun, shot 12-year-old Greg in the eye, murdered cold blood. Billy Dyer would go on to pump 11 more rounds into Greg's 3 siblings, Steve, age 14, Tanya, age 3, Stacy, 14 months. Unbelievable. As a 14-year-old, he was sentenced and has been spending the entirety of his adult life in the correctional center. Now, he has passed away, deceased, and when I saw that headline, people said, I hope Lake TV does a story on this, and so I started looking, and it is crazy. So tune in next week for our first true crime at the LOZ as we dig into the Billy Dyer story with the Swift family murder. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, that's all the time we got for this week's Cup of Coffee. Thanks for tuning in from Slumberland at the Lake. We'll see you next week.
You're watching Lake TV.